What is going on, everybody? It is TripleCrown24 back today with a new card show recap video. This one is for the Eastgate card show, aka the Cincinnati card show, or one of the Cincinnati card shows for Saturday, April 16th, 2022. Overall, this was an incredibly successful show. It was a bit smaller than last time. The last one was in February. They don't do shows. I think it's January and March are the 2 months that they don't do it because of a scheduling conflict. But this one is one of, if not the closest show to my house, which is very convenient. It is definitely nice not to have to get up at like 7 in the morning to go to a show that's like 2 hours away and then have to drive all the way back. So it's cool when they're in my own backyard, so to speak. I within the first 5 minutes of the show could have walked out and I would have been happy. And that is because I picked up two 3,200 count boxes that were filled. They were a 5 for $1 box. I made an offer to the dealer to take 2 of the 4 off his hands and got them for probably, I think it was 3 to 4 cents per card, and just some very quality store fodder for the eBay store in there. And potentially a couple of cards will move to Whatnot. Some will go into my own value boxes, but that is the work that is ahead of me to determine where everything is going to fall into place. In fact, we'll probably start diving into that as soon as I finish up with this video recording wise today. Other than that, overall, the show was a lot of fun. I had a lot of great conversations, just talking with people, and just great time reconnecting with old friends, making new ones. So let's go ahead and get into the pickups. And stack today is going to look a little bit different. It's actually all raw except for one card. You see that slab sticking out there, and we'll talk about that. I did get in some new inventory over the past week, and actually quite a few of those cards I ended up involving in trades today. I've made a lot of trades. That's kind of become the norm for me. All right, I want to show you some of the cards that had come in. Anthony Rizzo Dynasty Patch Auto. This was a Whatnot purchase. Just thought it was extremely cheap for what it went for. And then I went to check eBay sales, and turns out I got a good deal on it. This is numbered to 5, so it's the silver parallel, I guess it's what it's called, because it's got the silver foil around the patch window there. And this was probably a third or a fourth the cost of a hobby box for this. And I mean, if you pulled this out of a box, you'd probably be disappointed because, well, based on what they sell for, you probably took a big L. But you know, when you're opening Dynasty, you kind of have to expect to take an L 9 times out of 10. But just one of those that I saw, and I'm like, this feels like it's way too cheap. So I went ahead and grabbed it. Same thing with this one here. It is actually a 1 of 1. Purple from 2019 Illusions Basketball Fantasy Matchups. Not the 2 biggest hobby darlings, especially the guy on the left. But Sean Kemp, I know quite a few Sean Kemp collectors out there. So PSA 9 on the purple 1 of 1 Fantasy Matchups there. And then this beauty came back home from its little vacation in Newport Beach. Remember from the Dallas show, this was my my headliner pickup in a trade, the Juan Soto X-Fractor. Unfortunately, it did get the assigned grade of a 7. So originally that BG is 8.5. This was kind of the worst case scenario, I guess. Well, I guess something lower than that would be the worst case scenario. But for what I realistically expected it to get, this was kind of on the lower end of expectations. So is it a little disappointing? Yeah, I will fully admit that. I was hoping to get at least an 8, possibly a 9. To get a 7 kind of sucks, but I own the card. That's what's really important. It's in the holder, and it is what it is. I'm not going to let the assigned grade devalue my own appreciation for the card. So I wanted to share that. But getting into the actual pickups now, a lot of trades, very few like outright purchases that I made today, but overall, just it was nice to be able to use what I already had, especially after picking up those 2 3,200 count boxes. So this first one here was a purchase that I had made, the only outright purchase that I made all day, as a matter of fact, for these 3 cards. First up, my man Torque refractor from Bowman's Best 2021. He had a monster home run on Friday night against the Royals, game winner. I am still working on my Tigers autograph project. It's coming along very slowly. I have quite a few that I need to send out for TTMs and a few more that I'd like to pick up. I am excited to get like Javi Baez and Austin Meadows and Torkelson, particularly the first two when they have cards in Tiger uniforms, which are going to be probably a while before we get that. But Torque, just when like some of the lower end products come out and they put his autographs in there, maybe I can snag like a cheap sticker one or get like a second year Bowman's Best on the cheap. I want to have them in the Tigers uniform. I don't want an Arizona State one, so kind of holding out for that. But I did get this Funkhauser today from Gallery. It was only like $2, so I decided I'll go ahead and grab that. And then Soto purple to 25 from Chronicles. I'm not a huge fan of these like base Chronicles cards. I guess you can call them base, like the base design. I don't really think they've ever had a design that really worked for this particular release, but it's a Soto out of 25, and it was only like $5 sticker. So I said, you know what, I will go for that. Mr. Soto is one of those that when it's numbered to 25, I'll pretty much pick it up at that price, regardless of circumstances. Speaking of Soto, I saw this one on a dealer's table, and it caught my eye. And then there was another card that caught my eye, so I decided to try to work out a trade, and we made a straight up 2-for-3 trade. I gave up Joey Bart auto that I had just gotten in, as well as an Adrian Peterson rookie that I had gotten in again the day before. So first card up is this Soto green, number 299. It is 11 of 99. So always cool to get that from Ginter Chrome 2021. Fortunately, this guy just went on the injured list. It's double unfortunate for me, not only as a Tigers fan, but he's on my fantasy baseball team as well, and he had a really solid outing. From what I've heard, it's just precautionary. I think he'll be fine, but Casey Mize here, Donruss rookie auto. Just thought it was stickered a little too cheap. It's got a $15 sticker on the back, and not saying that that's not what they go for. You know, that probably sounds about right, but for a guy like Mize, just one of those that, you know, I'll go ahead and grab it. Why not? And then this was this was an interesting one. So this was originally in a one touch. I moved it over here to a top loader, and most likely it will be heading into a Card Saver 1 for grading at some point. But with the hype around WWE Prism, which I see it all over my timeline on Twitter, it seems like either there's a bunch of closet wrestling fans out there that I have never really known that they were wrestling fans before, or a lot of people have really gotten into it because of the Prism release. Whatever the case may be, there's been a lot of talk about it, and there's a wrestling collector out there by the name of David Peck. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with them, and I don't really follow the wrestling market too closely. I don't know too much about it. I would say it's definitely one of my weaker areas in terms of knowledge. But he put out a tweet the other day that I found was really interesting. I know this is a very long-winded explanation for my pickup, but there is a point to it. I promise I'm getting there. And he was talking about kind of all the hype around the new Prism stuff, talking about, you know, all these color blast and the low numbered stuff. And he said that the pinnacle of modern, it was either modern or ultra modern wrestling, I forget what term he used, would be the super fractor autograph of this card. So I kind of kept that in the back of my mind. And this is a guy who knows his stuff, right? I mean, he he is, if I had to pick one person, you know, there's a couple that come to mind, and he is towards the top of that list. If I had to get advice for this kind of stuff, my buddy Garrett Card Cutter would be right there as well. But when I saw that, I saw this card sitting on the table. It wasn't too far away from the Soto that I showed you moments ago, and I was kind of just thinking about it. And I asked the dealer what he had. He said 200, so I kind of just, you know, was taking my mental notes on my first walkthrough. And I went to go kind of take my little break and look things up that I was interested in. I saw that there were sales around like 80 to 100, so kind of thought it was going to be a lost cause. But he actually looked it up himself while I had walked around, And then he came down to 100 on it. And then, of course, we were able to work out the trade from there. So I'm very happy with it. I looked it over. There is a pretty decent print line down the center that's fairly common with a lot of these. It's still not going to stop me from getting it submitted. It's still a card that I think is worthwhile. But yeah, I am very happy to have grabbed that. Definitely not something I was expecting to find when I walked into the show, and not something I was even thinking was going to happen, but it happened. So there you go. One of those things too about doing this is that I can often look for cards for friends and try to work out deals that benefits both them and myself. This one here will benefit me in the long run, but it is to help out a friend as well. I found this card and my friend Miko, I know you guys know Mike, this is his guy. So I immediately sent him a few pictures of a few cards on the table. He really liked this one, and thankfully I was able to work out a straight up trade to land this for him, and this will be heading to him at some point here in the near future. But Red Refractor Bryce Harper from 2021 Finest. It is numbered 1 of 5. I don't like to typically show off cards that I buy for friends because I like to just, give them their time in the sun and let them kind of talk about it and show it off. So I'm just going to briefly show it there, but Mike can talk more about it on his channel. You can go watch his mail day recap videos to see all of his Harper pickups if that's something that interests you. So go check them out. Moving along, another deal that I made. This was a trade. I traded my 73 Aaron PSA 4. I was happy with the card. It's a nice example for given it's a sign grade. And I gave up $20 as well to make this deal. And realistically, what I thought I could get for the Aaron, I thought that I was kind of increasing my value here. Again, trading away vintage for ultra modern, kind of the second day in a row or second weekend in a row that I've done that rather, which is a bit counterintuitive to what I normally try to do, but sometimes it just works out, right? So first up here from Topps Chrome Black, I love these cards. It is the Rod Carew. I will always take a look at the Chrome Black stuff whenever I find it. This dealer had a couple different ones. Saw several throughout the show floor, but Carew, really cool one there, Hall of Famer. This is an interesting one. This is a buyback Donruss Recollection, signed by Craig Biggio, rookie, numbered to 50. And the dealer had this one stickered at $15. And this is just one of those where I don't even need to even think twice about it. Just a signed Hall of Fame rookie card. I don't care who it is. It could be the lowest Hall of Famers, and I don't even think that a Biggio, 3,000 hit club, fantastic player for many years. I saw that, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna have to go ahead and grab that. So that was part of it. And then you will see this guy quite a bit today if you haven't already. Juan Soto, 2019 Heritage Action. A couple reasons I like this card. Number one, it is an action. Number two, it does have the rookie cup there. And number three is that Soto did not have an action in 2018 Heritage, is when his Heritage rookie was released. He did not make the cut for the action variation checklist. So that is his first Heritage action variation, which I thought was kind of cool. I'm going to save this stack here for last. So another trade. Again, I had to add a little bit of cash for this one, but I didn't mind. I traded away my Giannis Dimensions case hit out of Elite. Kind of one of those lower end case hits. One that I had pack pull. I've been holding it for a while, but was able to get this stack of 5 cards. A couple of Genesis here on top. My love for the Genesis is kind of diminished over the past, say, 6 months or so. Not because I don't like the cards. I think the Genesis design is beautiful. I love the color scheme with it. Just because I think that they are a little overhyped. I don't even really want to say that because I like them so much, but they're not as rare as people think they are. Even the 2021s, I don't think are as rare as people think they are. Again, I still love them, and I'll still get them if the price is right, but I don't put as much faith in them as I once did, maybe say a year ago or so. But anyways, Aaron Donald here, just one that stood out to me. And then Chris Carter out of the Ohio State, number one that jumped out to me. These are just some colored refractors that were really cheap, so I tried to just add them to my stack here. They were essentially throw-ins based on the price that we worked out in terms of cash and trade value. But McCutcheon, Pink Speckle, I think they're called, or Pink Sparkle to 350. And then Manny Machado from Chrome Black, the aforementioned Chrome Black, numbered 299 green. So that was cool. And then this one is kind of the piece de resistance of the trade. 2012 update Bryce Harper in a suit. This is the image variation short print. Card that I think is incredibly overlooked. Topps didn't put the rookie card logo on this one, and I think that's a big reason why it gets overlooked. This is the All-Star Game card, and it's the photo variation for the All-Star Game. Now, the Trout version of this, I know a year ago, I mean, of course, a year ago, what didn't command a huge premium, but a year ago, this that Trout card was red hot. And the 2012 update All-Star cards for both Trout and Harper have cooled pretty drastically since then. They're still not cheap, don't get me wrong, but this one I thought was incredibly cheap. The dealer had this priced at $60, which I thought was a deal. So even if we didn't work out this trade, I was definitely not leaving the table without this card. I would have even paid full sticker for it if I had to, just because I thought it was that good of a deal and that good of a card to own. So I just went ahead and grabbed that. And then last but not least, another one of those that involves cash and trade. Again, some value box cards to go along with it. Again, those are with the value boxes that I bought out. So I will not be showing those off. But a couple of Sotos here, and it's pretty fitting that they come together. Downtown Soto and Home Field Advantage Soto. Now, the downtowns, they printed quite a few more of these in 2021 than they did in 2020. The silver lining of that is that Diamond Kings is not a massively produced product, in my opinion, compared to some of the other Panini releases. It definitely has a much smaller print run because it's not as high in demand. And some of these case hits are pretty tough. A lot of them blend in because they just look like a regular old insert, and you really have to be paying attention. So the downtown is one of the few exceptions. It doesn't really fit the theme, I would say, of Diamond Kings. So these ones, they're also, I would say, one of the easier ones to find out there. They're not easy by any means, but they are easier than, say, something like a DeLong or a Blackout or a Blank Slate, something like that. And then the Home Field Advantage, these are not difficult. They do fall about one per case in 2021 Topps, or 2022, excuse me, Topps Series 1. But when you look at the print runs of these, or you look at the print run of Series 1, you realize how many of these are out there based on the odds. Now, the Legends ones do seem to be a bit more short printed. They do seem to be a bit more rare, but these ones right here, these Home Field Advantages, are not rare. But still, that said, it doesn't have to be rare to be cool. It doesn't have to be rare to have, appeal to both me and maybe even someone else too. So you guys know I like Soto. I've said it time and time again on this channel. So I went ahead and traded away a couple of cards that I really didn't have too much into. And I would say the dealer probably won the trade if you're looking at immediate value on the two cards that I gave up. One of them was a LeBron tribute dunk, and one of them was a Vlad Montgomery Club card. It is what it is. These were the cards that I wanted, so I went ahead and made that trade. I was already having a good show anyways, so I don't have to win, quote unquote, win every single trade. I make fair trades, or even, I guess, come up short on trades sometimes too. But just if both parties are happy, I think that's what matters most. So let's talk about the show floor, shall we? Now that I've shown off all my pickups, not very much vintage, very heavy on the Cincinnati teams. This reminds me very much of pre-pandemic shows. My impression of shows before I even really started going back to them again was that a lot of it would be the local teams, and that narrative kind of got wiped away really after the start of the pandemic, where it was just pretty much whoever the hottest names are. Don't get me wrong, there's still quite a few Ja Morants out there. There's still quite a bit of the 2021 NFL quarterbacks that are available. but largely there was a lot of Bengals. There was a lot of Bengals. I cannot understate it. And there was also a lot of Reds. And it kind of leads into what was hot and what was not. I mean, there's a reason that all those guys were put out there. It's because that's what people were really looking at. A lot of people were looking at the Joe Burrow stuff still. They're all in on Joe Burrow. Not as many people looking for Reds. In fact, the Reds name that I heard the most was Joey Votto. I thought that was interesting. I did see quite a bit of Hunter Green stuff out. He made his major league debut within the past week and pitched extremely well against the defending champion Braves. So I was surprised at his stuff. You know, the prices on them were a bit ridiculous, in my opinion. Maybe that's why a lot of them weren't really moving, but there weren't too many people really even asking about him. Jonathan India was still extremely hot, but surprisingly not as much asked about as Joey Votto from just listening to other people ask about things and what people at the neighboring tables were discussing or asking for. So just an observation there. And then what was not hot, say the hate for base. I didn't see too many, base card slabs out there. And the ones I did, like I saw a lot of Gavin Lux PSA 9s still priced at like $20 to $25. And I would be hard pressed to get $20 for a PSA 10 on a lot of the Gavin Lux based stuff, just from my own experience, seeing them or buying up collections or consigning cards on some of the Gavin Lux stuff. It doesn't, there's so much of it out there that it's very difficult to get that top dollar for it. A lot of times you kind of have to cave in. It does happen. It is possible, but you got to be patient. But on the 9s, I get that he's really hot right now. He's off to a hot start for the year, and looks like he's going to get significant playing time. But saw a lot of him. I saw a lot of CD Lamb. I can't tell you why. It doesn't really make much sense in the Cincinnati area, but a lot of CD Lamb PSA 9s that again were priced like it was April 2021, not April 2022, and just those days are over. I don't know what else to say on that, but let's go to the takeaways. We'll start with something that I like. The conversation, I kind of alluded to it earlier, it was a very fun, casual environment. A lot of dealers didn't have to whip out their phones on me, which is appreciated. I didn't whip out my phone on them unless I was showing them something in terms of something that added, I guess, relevance to the card that I was showing in terms of context, like my 500 home run club relic card. That was something that I pulled out my phone to kind of show some stuff on that, or some of the other cards that I have in my trade box, so to speak. So it was nice. Just even when the deals weren't made, a lot of great conversation. So something I didn't like, I really, I cannot think of something that like really irked me. I didn't really meet any unpleasant people. I didn't really have any bad experiences coming into the show. There's nothing that really comes to mind. I guess I can revisit. If you guys remember my last time going to the show, I had the dealer who told me that he wasn't hurting for $800. He was there again, and still, like, I was at a neighboring table, and I listened to him, like, quote unquote, comping out $5 cards to people. Like, what? I don't understand the point of pricing things and then going to just comp them right in front of them and not, honoring your sticker price still. I don't get it. But I'm really having to reach for something here. I have nothing but positive things really to say today. So we'll end on, of course, a positive note, as we always like to do, for something that I liked as well. And this one will be kind of goofy, but I was not the only one wearing Tigers gear. I'm in my Tigers quarter zip right now that my girlfriend got me as a little gift late last year, and it's springtime now, so it's perfect weather to break it out. And today I had to go show my Tigers pride with the win yesterday off Torque's 2-run homer. And I was not the only one there. I saw probably 4 or 5 other people wearing Tigers gear. There was one dealer who made a comment about it to me, and he's like, "There's a lot of you guys here today." So it's just cool to see, you know, like just that's those are my people, right? My fellow Tigers fans out there, and being kind of in enemy territory, it's always cool when you see someone who's a fan of your team, kind of outside of our natural habitat, if you will. So again, that's a goofy one, but it just something that I thought I'd throw in there. So that is it for today's show recap. I hope that you enjoyed it. Overall, again, extremely successful show, and I need to get to work on going through those value boxes now. So until next time, everybody, take care, stay safe, be kind.